The Ghost in the Silk Scarf. Unmasking Don Calò Vizzini, Sicily's Shadow King. What if one man's whisper shattered an empire, only to forge a darker, criminal dominion in its ashes? Imagine this, July 10th, 1943. Allied bombs rain on Sicily's shores. A single yellow silk scarf, embroidered with a black L, flutters from the sky like a dark omen, dropped by a U.S. plane over a sleepy village. It lands at the feet of a peasant farmer turned kingpin. Within days, fascist lines crumble, tanks roll unchallenged, and the man clutching that scarf? He becomes mayor, honorary colonel, and the puppet master of a reborn mafia. But was it fate or a filthy lie? Who was Don Calò Vizzini, the man who allegedly turned the tide of World War II, or just a master con artist riding the chaos? Stick around. This story's got more twists than a mountain pass ambush. The scene shifts abruptly, the screen cleaved in two. On the left, Mussolini's grim visage looms in a faded portrait, its surface splintering like fractured glass under the weight of history's judgment. On the right, a weathered map of Sicily unfurls, zeroing in on the rugged heart of Villalba, where a crimson pin plummets like a bullet, piercing the dusty village with ominous precision. Blood and dust, the boy who tamed the bandits. The vista opens with a soaring view over Sicily's Vallone Valley, where the earth lies scorched and barren, its cracked surface stretching like the parched hide of some ancient beast under a merciless sun. A timeline unfurls across the page of history, its inked script proclaiming 1877, the year Calogero Vizzini first drew breath in the hardscrabble village of Villalba, home to a mere 4,000 souls. The scene shifts, plunging into a vivid tableau. A boy of 12, young Calò, his eyes burning with a fierce, untamed glint despite his half-read schooling, stands amidst the lengthening shadows of bandits, haggling fiercely over sacks of wheat with the cunning of a seasoned trader. Picture Sicily in 1877, a feudal hellhole where the soil clings to your boots like a curse, and the air smells of olive oil and desperation. Villalba wasn't the glamorous Palermo of opera houses and orange groves. It was the Vallone, a poverty-stricken scar in Caltanissetta province where peasants scratched out lives from subsistence farms. Here, the state was a myth. Bandits ruled the roads and the police, often worse than the thieves they chased. Into this cauldron slipped Calogero Vizzini on July 24th, 1877, son of a dirt-poor farmer, Beniamino, who hitched his wagon to a slightly less broke landowning clan via marriage. Calò's uncles wore priestly robes. His brothers, Giovanni and Giuseppe, followed suit, preaching sermons in Villalba's stone church. But Calò, he dropped out after elementary school, his world narrowed to the page of a half-read primer. By his teens, he was a cancia, a gritty go-between, escorting peasants, wheat 80 kilometers to coastal mills, swarming with rival mafiosi who crushed competition like grape skins underfoot. The roads, bandit boulevards. Enter Francesco Paolo Barcelona, the mountain ghost of Camerata, a man of honor who doubled as noble enforcer, quelling peasant revolts for a fee. Calò struck a deal, protection for a cut. By 1902, he was in Barcelona's band, dodging police traps that snapped like bear jaws. Arrested for association to commit crime, Calò walked free, acquitted, unscathed. It was his first taste of Omerta's sweet poison, silence as armor. The narrative halts abruptly, the world fading to an inky void as the sharp crack of a gunshot reverberates, its echo lingering like a specter in the silence. Words materialize in stark white script against the darkness. But one deal would render him untouchable or entomb him in a tide of blood. Chapter 2, The War Profiteer, From Rustler to Robin Hood. The tale sweeps into the grainy flicker of World War I, where sepia-tone newsreels capture columns of soldiers trudging through mud and requisition mules kicking up clouds of dust in defiance. A timeline unrolls like an ancient scroll, its bold inscription marking 1914, the year Calogero Vizzini ascended as the unchallenged mafia lord of Villalba. The scene shifts to a map, its lines coiling like serpents as it zooms to reveal rustling trails snaking from Villalba's rugged heart to the sprawling army camps beyond. Under a silvered moon, the story leaps to life. Calò, now 37, stands cloaked in shadow, bartering pilfered livestock with a predator's poise, his eyes glinting like polished obsidian, sharp and unyielding in the night. By 1914, Calò was Il Capo, undisputed dawn of Villalba's nascent mafia, born not from ancient codes but 1890s desperation. Church sodalities twisted into protection rackets, enforcing pax mafiosa with fists and whispers. World War I, his golden ticket. Italian armies needed horses, mules, cattle. Calò bought rustled beasts dirt cheap from terrified peasants, a poll tax to dodge requisitions, flipped them at gouging prices to desperate officers. One villager whispered of him keeping 12,000 acres from generous land grabs, playing Robin Hood to the rubes while stacking lyre like cordwood. Post-war, he pivoted. Black market sulfur mines, brokering massive estates like the Bellisi, 290 hectares for himself, via a Duke's shady Paris deal. But here's the thrill. His rap sheet? A police nightmare. 39 murders, 6 attempts, 13 assaults, 36 robberies, 37 thefts, 63 extortions. Yet peasants adored him. Why? He mediated feuds, divvied land to Catholic co-ops after his skim, and preached his gospel to journalist Indro Montanelli in 1949. In every society, someone straightens the crooked. Where the state fails, private men step in. Sensational? He once led a 1922 peasant revolt, seizing aristocratic plots and flipping them to a co-op he founded, pure altruism, or a land baron in sheep's clothing. Then the mustache man enters stage right, Benito Mussolini. Calò dines with him in Milan, July 1922, two power-hungry souls toasting over wine. He bankrolls the March on Rome, Sicily's fascist column marching on his dime. A 1926 cop file brands him dangerous cattle rustler, mafia boss linked province-wide. But Il Duce turns, appoints Cesare Mori, the Iron Prefect, to crush the mafia. Calò's acquitted in a 1931 murder trial but exiled to Basilicata. Confino, a slow suffocation. He sneaks back by 1937, untouchable, a ghost in his own fiefdom. In the dim glow of a flickering lantern, the pages of a clandestine dossier reveal a stark bar chart, each column rising like a blood-stained monument to Don Calò Vizzini's shadowy empire. The first bar, etched for 1914, marks him as a mere local rustler, a predator of Villalba's dusty trails. By 1922, a second column surges higher, casting him as a fascist financier, his coffers fueling Mussolini's march with sinister coin. The final bar, jagged and looming in 1937, brands him an exiled phantom, a ghost weaving through Basilicata's shadows, untouchable yet ever-present, his influence a chilling specter over Sicily's underworld. If these shadowy deals have you hooked, hit that subscribe button on our channel for the full playlist. Next up, the tank that changed everything. Don't miss it. Chapter 3, Operation Husky, Scarves, Tanks, and a Devil's Bargain. The air crackles with the chaos of war, the pages of this true crime saga erupting into a vivid montage of World War II's fury. Paratroopers plunge through ink-black skies, their silhouettes swallowed by the Sicilian night, while General Patton's scowl cuts through grainy footage, hard as flint. A map unfurls, its animated lines pulsing like blood through veins, igniting in crimson as Allied forces storm the beaches from Gela to Licata on July 9, 1943. The scene shifts, heart-pounding. A low-flying plane roars overhead, its shadow slicing the earth as a yellow silk scarf, delicate yet ominous, drifts down like a whispered promise. It flutters into view, a fleeting emblem of treachery. Then the spotlight falls on Don Calò Vizzini, a squat figure with tinted spectacles and a sly, serpentine grin, clambering atop a rumbling Sherman tank. Around him, a frenzied crowd of peasants erupts in wild cheers, their voices a fevered hymn to a man straddling savior and schemer. The page turns dark, a cliffhanger etched in stark letters. Did he deliver salvation to the Allies, or merely slither free to save his own skin? July 9, 1943. Operation Husky explodes. 160,000 Allies storm Sicily's southwest shores. Patton's 7th Army clawing toward Palermo through Mafia heartland. Enter the legend that electrified headlines. A U.S. plane buzzes Villalba, dropping Zulucki Luciano's yellow foulard, black L like a serpent's tongue. Days later, 3 Shermans rumble in, 50 kill him through fascist fire. Calò climbs aboard, allegedly co-piloting for 6 days, guiding Patton's 3rd Division over mountains. Sniping snipers, welcoming GIs with feasts. Fascists? They surrendered en masse, whispering Don Calò wills it. Thrilling, hell yes. OSS, CIA's daddy, codenamed him Bullfrog, monthly meets with Agent Joseph Russo. AMGOT crowns him mayor, honorary U.S. colonel. Anti-fascist savior, they said on priests' nods. But wait, historians like Salvatore Lupo call bullshit. No docs back the scarf. Allies' firepower needed no goat herder guides. Mafiosi like Nick Gentile sneered in 1963, fairy tale for suckers. Truth? Calò led a chanting mob, Viva l'America, Viva la Mafia, to greet tanks, then parlayed black market savvy into post-war plunder, truck convoys looting army stores, shipping grub to Naples with Vito Genovese, forged passes, bribed Yanks, pure wartime grift. Post-Husky, he's king of the black market, arranging hits on nosy cops like Villalba's chief who poked too deep. September 1944, a rally turns bloodbath. Communist firebrand Girolamo Licauzi rails against Mafia leeches. Calò interrupts. Shots fly. 14 wounded, including Licauzi. Calò, acquitted in 58, evidence vanished like smoke. He flips politics like cards, backs Sicilian separatists, miss clandestine meets, December 1943, then ditches for Christian Democrats when Uncle Sam whispers Cold War. Why? To crush Reds. OSS funneled cash to keep communists at bay. Was Don Calò a patriot or a profiteer? Drop your theory below. Who really pulled the strings in 43? Share now. The pulse of the story quickens, driven by a relentless percussion that thunders like tank treads grinding over Sicily's bloodied earth. The scene unfolds on a vivid, animated timeline, its markers stabbing through the years like daggers. 1943, the Allied invasion storming ashore in a blaze of fire and steel. 1944, a rally erupting into a deadly shootout, the air thick with betrayal and gunfire. 1949, the sinister rise of a heroin front, its tendrils coiling through Palermo's shadows. Each date pulses with menace, a ticking clock in a true crime saga where Don Calò's shadow looms ever larger. Chapter 4, The Puppet Master's Endgame, Love, Legacy, and Lingering Shadows. The air grows heavy, thick with the scent of incense and mourning, as a somber procession snakes through Villalba's sun-scorched streets, thousands clad in black, their faces etched with grief and fear. Priests chant Latin in a low, mournful cadence that reverberates like a dirge. A map looms into focus, its final zoom revealing Sicily in the wake of 1954, where crimson webs of mafia influence spread like a plague, entangling the island in a sinister lattice. The scene shifts to a heart-wrenching tableau. Don Calò Vizzini, frail and fading, lies in a rattling ambulance, his breath shallow and desperate, clawing at life's edge. The image cuts sharply to a chisel biting into stone, carving an epitaph that seals his legend in cold, unyielding truth. A final testament to a man who wove power and betrayal into Sicily's dark heart. By 1950's dawn, Calò's empire gleamed. Sulfur mines in Gessalungo, vast lands, a Palermo candy factory, heroin cover busted by Avanti, in 54, chemists fleeing like rats. Ties to U.S. bosses like Lucky Luciano? Ironclad, snapped at Hotel Sol, photographer thrashed but bought off. He allegedly greenlit Salvatore Giuliano's 1950 hit, The Bandit Who'd Soured on Him. Unmarried after a teen heartbreak, concertina, shipped to America by her folks, he ruled like a feudal lord, modest in threadbare suits, half-closed eyes hiding a serpent's gaze. Local scribe Luigi Lumia painted him squat, dim-seeming, but deadly. Nods to henchmen's sealed fates without a word. July 10, 1954, ambulance crests Villalba's hill. Calò, 76 and frail, expires at the gates. Funeral? Biblical. Thousands in mourning black, politicians shuttering offices, pallbearers like Francesco Paolo Bontate, father of future Don Stefano. Epitaph on the church, his mafia was not criminal, it was love. Billions in lire to grandsons, mines, mansions, blood-soaked legacy. But myths die hard. Media crowned him capo di tutti capi, boss of bosses. Yet Pentiti like Tommaso Buscetta scoffed, no such throne in Cosa Nostra's web. He embodied rural honor's fade, paternal fixer turned urban ghost, paving for the 60s drug wars. As he told Montanelli, when I die, the mafia dies wrong. It evolved, slithering into shadows we chase today. Don Calò's secrets buried empires but unearthed what monsters? For more untold tales, from Mussolini's betrayals to Luciano's ghosts, subscribe now and dive into our Mafia Myths playlist. Hit bell, comment your wildest theory below. Was the scarf real? Like, share, and let's uncover the next shadow. Grazie. See you in the dark.